Ladies and gentlemen, it's nice to welcome back once again to St Andrews our guest of the evening, young man who's been here before, done beautiful things. Will you welcome, please, Dave Walters.
Something crazy about touring Scotland in midwinter. I ought to fix it so I'm touring in Monte Carlo or something like that, I think. Okay, to kick off the evening, a song from the Battle of Preston Pans with a fine chorus. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Try it, hey Johnny Cope. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Sir John Cope rode the north right far, but ne'er a rebel he came near, until he landed at Dunbar right early in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Cope sent a challenge, frae Dunbar, come fight me Charlie if you dare. And if it be by the chance of war, you'll all die in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Oh fine now Johnny, get up and run, oh the Highland bagpipes make it in. Now it's better to sleep in your whole skin than to flee away in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. When Johnny Cope to Dunbar came, oh they all speared at him, oh as your man. Now the devil confound me gin I can, for I left them all in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. Sir John Cope rode the north right far, but ne'er a rebel he came near, until he landed at Dunbar right early in the morning. Hey Johnny Cope, are you waking yet, or are you sleeping, I would bet? Haste that you get up, the drums do beat, Fi Cope, rise in the morning. I've got a strange background. I was born on a train between Cardiff and Crewe, and they never really worked out where I actually sort of emerged. And I suppose it's about the nearest I get to having any sort of Celtic background. So it excuses many of the Scots songs I sing, because the old Welsh folk song is unfortunately too classicalised to sing. Right, this song comes from a place called Kirkconnell, which is a very small village just south of Dumfries. And there lived a rather attractive young lady many years ago called Helen Irving. She was the daughter of the Laird of Kirkconnell, big landowner. And Daddy was intent on Helen marrying somebody with a lot of money, thereby increasing the family wealth. Unfortunately, the only man in her village who had any money at all was a real ugly Scotsman by the name of Kenneth McKellar. And she hated the sight of him, thank you. And she was very much in love, actually, with a real cracker of a fella, a bloke who lived just down the road. No money at all, but 6 foot across the shoulders, blonde hair, blue eyes, a chap called Steve McQueen. And she used to meet him, Steve, quite regularly in the churchyard at Kirkconnell. And every Sunday afternoon, Steve could be seen wooing Helen on the gravestones. Necrophilia's in this year. Right. Things went quite well, actually, until Kenneth McKellar, the ugly one, got wind of the situation and decided he'd do something about it, and he secretes himself in the bushes with a 12-bore shotgun, and his aim, of course, to try and get rid of Steve McQueen. Unfortunately, Kenneth, through a misdemeanour in his life, which is basically doing something he shouldn't, is half blind. And instead of shooting Steve, he shoots Helen. Steve McQueen's somewhat upset, as you can imagine, and he does a very strange thing, something that's fairly common in folk song, but not in everyday life, thank God. He draws forth a big broadsword. Now that, as you know, is a euphemism for something. I'll not say what, but all I shall say is that Steve McQueen, in true Errol Flynn fashion, for those that know, limps across the churchyard up to Kenneth McKellar and kills him. Actually, the song doesn't have this ending, but I always thought that the whole story would be culminated by the ghost of Kenneth McKellar walking the hills of Kirkconnell, and Maura Anderson come to visit him. No, it's a fine song, actually, Helen of Kirkconnell. Here we go. Oh, I wish I were where Helen lies, night and day on me she cries. Oh, that I were where Helen lies, on fair Kirkconnell. Oh, I think you know my heart was sad to see her lying, I am speaking a man. She did swoon when me good cat on fair Kirkconnell. Oh, I lighted down, my soul to draw. I hacked him in pieces small. I hacked him in pieces small, on fair Kirkconnell. Oh, Helen fair beyond compare. Oh, how we've a garland o'er thy hair shall bind my heart forevermore, until the day I die. Oh, I wish my grave were grown green. I know winding sheet drawn o'er mine, and I in heaven's arms lying on fair Kirkcaldy. Oh, I wish I were where Helen lies, night and day on me she cries. Oh, I am weary for the skies, for her sake that died for me. Right, just jetting across the Atlantic quickly to a place called Salvage, which is on the cliffs above Goose Bay. And there, the natives of Salvage have a unique pastime, also quite a money earner. They put lights in the windows of the houses on the cliffs and wreck the ships on the rocks below. Touch of Jamaica Inn, if you read that book. Well, not content with just wrecking the ships and getting the sort of the salvage and that, they actually do some dastardly deeds, because as the crew are clambering off the ships, sodden through, and finally make their way to the top of the cliffs with great expressions of relief on their faces after having been endured great ordeals, they stood at the top with pickaxes and chopped their heads off. It's a bit wicked, really. In Jamaica Inn, it was the parish priest that organised it, based down in Cornwall. Not so in this song, anyway. The song is called Christmas Day, and really is a light-hearted look at a wreck that occurred in Goose Bay. If you want to join in with a carol at the end, please do. May not be the time of year, but the weather's certainly right for it anyway. Here we go, Christmas Day. It happened to be on Christmas Day, 'twas from King's Cove we sailed away, as we were bound up to Goose Bay, the Ellen to repair. When we left the wind was down, we headed her up for Newman Sound. The Ellen, my boys, she did lose ground, fell off for Little Denyer. The wind veered to the west, south-west, and Barrow Harbour we could not fetch. The gale blew blustering down the reach, 'twas near the close of day. So to Darkhall we ran her in, and waited there for a half-free wind. 27th to begin, our anchors fought away. Next morning then our hearts were light, we ran her up for the standing ice, thinking that all things were right, as you might understand, till from below there came a roar, there's water to the cabin floor, the signals of distress did soar for help from off the land. The men into the hold did make, and the women to the pumps did take, in hopes that they might stop the leak and beach her in a trice. But water still came tumbling in against the floe, they could not win. The skipper's voice rose o'er the din, all hands get on the ice. Now to our very sad mistake, we found the ice was about to break, had to carry and to take the children to dry ground. Poor Tommy Rowland scratched his head, for God's sake skipper save me bed. Immediately the words were said, the Ellen she went down. Next morning then we bid adieu to take down Tommy Rowland's crew. We landed them in Plaid Cove to walk down on the shore, repeating often he did say, oh, I'll never be caught up in Goose Bay. If I get out of it today, I'll trouble you no more. Tom Holloway lives on Goose Bay shore, his father and two brothers more. Hard he meant to ply an oar, westward the day did wend. A pair of boots, a barrel of flour, they salvage work in half an hour. Leather for Joe Horney, for Susanna's boots to mend. And now to close, take this advice, don't ever step on the new-made ice. Hold and squeeze you like a vice, 'twill shave your planks away, till finally the cuts are thin, that through your seams the seas come in. When a sea voyage you begin, don't sail on Christmas Day. Fairly international set tonight. Return to England now, to the world of that marvellous poet William Blake, arguably one of the finest of the English poets, but in his day, of course, he was not very well looked upon by many people. Way ahead of his time. In this song, he advocated that the churches should open their doors to the breweries. If you can imagine Whitbreads in the Vatican, you got a rough idea where he was at. He's sort of considered a heretic by the church authorities at the time, and they banned his works from being published, etc. And he died penniless. Pissed like, but penniless. The tune for this was inspired by the singing of the Shakers, that amazing breed of people in America who don't believe in sex or reproduction and are dying out rather rapidly, but the music's living on. The thing about the Shakers, they used to have these amazing preachers. I suppose the English equivalent was the Hellfire preachers, who would raise real enthusiasm in the congregation by screaming out lines of the hymn, and the audience would sort of throw it back at him, you know, vocally that is, but some inflection plates and things. So in keeping with the tradition, we'll try that. I sing a line and you sing it back to me. Here we go. Oh, mother, dear mother, the church it is cold. Try it. Oh, mother, dear mother, the church it is cold, but the alehouse is a healthy and pleasant and warm. The alehouse is a healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Besides, I can tell. Come on, you sinners, let's hear your voices ring. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. But if at the church they would give us some ale and a pleasant fire our souls to regale, we'd sing and we'd pray all the livelong day, not ever once wish from the church to stray. Oh mother, dear mother, the church it is cold, but the alehouse is a healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. But the parson might preach and he'd drink and he'd sing, and we'd be as happy as birds on the wing. Modest Dame Lurch, who is always at church, wouldn't have bandy children, nor fasten nor birch. Chorus. Oh mother, dear mother, the church it is cold, but the alehouse is a healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. And God, like a father, rejoicing to see his children as happy, as pleasant as he, would have no more quarrel with the devil or barrel, but to kiss him and to give him both a drink and a barrel. Oh mother, dear mother, the church it is cold, but the alehouse is a healthy and pleasant and warm. Besides, I can tell where I am used well. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. Such usage in a heaven will never do well. Right, having risen you to a pitch of religious fervour with that, quick snatch back to reality, and a song that originated as a traditional Scots folk song called The Flowers of the Forest. And through the efforts of a rather prolific songwriter, a chap called Anon, probably seen his name on a few things, the song updated became The Flowers of the Town, and is basically about all the women that get left behind when their men go off to fight in the war and get killed in the trenches, etc. Whole villages full of women with no men. Nice thought. The tune for it was put to it by a man called Roy Harris, an excellent singer from Nottingham, who's prolific in another respect, but we'll not discuss it. Right, here we go. I've heard them lilting at loom and at bilting, lassies lilting before dawn of day. But now they're silent, not gainsome or gallant, the flowers o' the town are all turned away. There was laughter and loving in the lane of an evening, handsome were the boys and the girls that were gay. But lost in Flanders by medal commanders, the flowers o' the town are all turned away. Cursed be the promise that takes our men from us, all will be champion if you choose to obey. They fought against hunger, but now no longer the pride of the land, lie cold as the clay, and the women are weary that lilted so merry, waiting to marry for a year and a day. From owning and earning, from owing and a winning, the flowers o' the town are all turned away. I've heard them lilting at loom and at bilting, lassies lilting before dawn of day. But now they're silent, not gainsome or gallant, the flowers o' the town are all turned away. Right, just one more for this first half. I'm busting for a drink. In keeping with the feeling and the idea of the last song, another army song, but this time from the soldier's point of view. And instead of those normally triumphant recruiting songs for the army, you know, like Join the Army, It's a Good Life, etc., See the World, this time it's basically an anti-joining the army war song. And the chorus, here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Right. We'll try the chorus first and see how I get on with it. Imagine you've just been conscripted. Right. And now with feeling... I was over in Germany last year, and I played on an army base out there, in a place called Witten, or Witten, and the soldiers there had spent 10 weeks in Belfast, and I finished the first set off just like now with this song, and you've never heard anything like it. There were all these sort of staff sergeants around glaring at them, and they were all singing away, don't go join, you know. Incredible. And this staff sergeant was incredible. He got up and he was sort of compere for the evening. And he said, Dave Walter's first set there, great. He said, he's also got some LPs for sale and you'll queue up at the door and buy them now. They're all going, yes, you know, find your LPs. Here we go. Here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Okay, we'll do it again. ways. No, we won't say that. Here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Hold your talk a while, I'll sing and make you smile. Listen to a soldier's sad narration. I was 16 years of age, no work at home they say, so I joined the British Army for promotion. I left me mum and dad, me sister and me friends, me little terraced house just by the park. Had a girl called Josie Lee, oh her I didn't see, for I left that cold grey morning in the dark. Here's to the lads, here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Then me and thousands more Germany went o'er, thinking we'd be back before the fall. In the trenches against the Hun, they had us on the run through the summer, winter, spring, and on to autumn. Winter's coming on, and all my spirit's gone. Me mates, they keep on dying every day. If the cold don't get me now, oh, let me die somehow. Don't want to stay in hell another day. Here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Well, now I'm home at last, and nightmares of the past, but me mum and dad look after me quite well. I've no legs to walk upon, so I sit and sing me song. If you want to join the army, go to hell. Here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Okay, one more time for king and country. Here's to the lads at home, do take my advice. Don't go join the British Army. There's nothing here but mud, barbed wire, shells and blood. Oh, I wish I'd stayed at home in dear old Blighty. Thank you.
Songs collected from female street cleaners residing in a bus shelter on the prom at Morecambe. This is the song. The woman who collected it was a woman called Lucy Broadwood, who was quite famous in the early 20th century, 1910 or so, around the countryside collecting folk songs. And she met this Margaret Royds, this female street cleaner, as I say, rather, shall I say, putrefied in this bus shelter in Morecambe on the prom, singing this song. Come listen a while unto these songs. March along, bold Wellington. March right down to the cabin door. That's the place where we adore. Rifle day, rifle day, rifle day, rifle de roll de ray. And the first that comes in's a soldier bold. In his hand he carries a sword, a shining star on his right breast, a bonny bunch of roses around his
Rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray, and the next that comes in's a sailor bold. He has sailed the ocean round, England, Ireland, France and Spain, now returns to old England again. Rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray, and the next that comes in's General Hill. He can neither fight nor kill, he took a slash from whence he came, and all the people cried a shame. Rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray. The next that comes in's never fear, he wants a pace egg once a year, he wants a pace egg for to go, to treat young lasses you might know. Oh, rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray, and the next that comes in's our old lass. She sits in the alehouse, jug and glass, she sits in the alehouse from morn till night. In a glass she takes her delight. Rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray. I've a bottle in me pocket of Valley campaign. Jump up St. George in the fight again. Jump up St. George in the dragon kill, and take a glass, drink a fill. Rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de, rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de, rifle-lay, 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 rifle-de-roll-de-ray.
In everyone's life, everybody's sort of striving for claims to fame. And the writer of this next song's claim to fame is that he had a #1 hit in the Irish Hit Parade. Quite a rare feat, because you probably know there's only 3 songs in the Irish top 10. He was there and doing very well. Actually, rumour has it that for a very short time he worked in an atomic energy plant. This man, and on arriving to work one morning somewhat inebriated, he slipped a uranium rod in the reactor the wrong way round, and it caused a red alert which lasted about 6 weeks. It was shortly afterwards he left to Australia, and he wrote this song on his way out. It's called Leaving Nancy.
In comes the train, the whole platform shakes. It stops with a shudder and a scream and it breaks. The parting has come, my weary soul aches. I'm leaving my Nancy, oh. But you stand there so calmly, determinedly gay. You talk of the weather and events of the day, but your eyes tell me all your tongue doesn't say. I'm leaving my Nancy, oh. So come a little closer, put your head upon my shoulder. Let me hold you one more time before the whistle blows. My suitcase is lifted and stored on the train. 1,000 regrets roll around in my brain. But the ache in my heart is a black sea of pain. I'm leaving Nancy, oh. But you stand there so calmly, so lovely to see. The grip of your hand is an unspoken plea. You're not fooling yourself, you're not fooling me. I'm leaving Nancy, oh. So come a little closer, put your head upon my shoulder. Let me hold you one more time before the whistle blows. Parting has come, the whistle has blown. Here I must leave you standing alone. We had so little time, and now the time's flown. Leaving Nancy, oh. And as the train starts gently to roll, as I lean out to wave and to call, I see the first tears trickle and fall. Goodbye, my Nancy, oh. So come a little closer, put your head upon my shoulder. Let me hold you one more time before the whistle blows.
I haven't got you down in the depths of emotional despair. Sing a song dedicated to the young ladies who are perhaps becoming a rather important part of the folk scene these days. Young ladies who often come to folk clubs on their own in search of company. Whilst in Germany, a young lady walked into this folk club with a dartboard and a bottle of whiskey. And she sat just there on the front row and stared longingly into my eyes all night. So, being quick thinking like, I went up to her at the end and said, how about a game of darts? She said, okay. So we're walking home, and I said, do you do this very often? She said, oh yes. I said, who were you last with? Like? She said, Amy Shimlack. I I retired to my bed in complete confusion. Yes, dedicated to those lovely young ladies. Harbours in the night, I think that's the best thing to show. Here we go. It's got a fine chorus. If you latch onto it, join in. Came sailing in on the ebb of the tide, drifting along on the songs. No place to go, the only one I know. I don't need a harbour for long. There'll be one sad-eyed lady at the door as you leave. 'Twas the lowlands she liked best of all. Your days are numbered, you lost all your thunder to the wise and the angry young men. Wind in your sails, you've nothing to fail. Promises and chances untaken. Seas subside and songs come and die, benedicted the night and forsaken. There'll be one sad-eyed lady. There'll be one sad-eyed lady at the door as you leave. 'Twas the lowlands she liked best of all. Your days are numbered, your days are numbered. You lost all your thunder to the wise and the angry young men. And tried when the east wind had cried, travel the oceans all over. When the west wind had called, I'll leave in the fall, a banker and sail right on over. One sad-eyed lady. There'll be one sad-eyed lady at the door as you leave. 'Twas the lowlands she liked best of all. Your days are numbered, your days are numbered. You lost all your thunder to the wise and the angry young men. Slocum and Spray both knew the way. Clear skies, blue water forever. Now your time's come and your uncle's been sung, songs and the sails stowed forever. And there'll be one sad-eyed lady at the door as you leave. 'Twas the lowlands she liked best of all. Your days are numbered, you lost all your thunder to the wise and the angry young men. Came sailing in on the ebb of the tide, drifting along on the songs. No place to go, the only one I know. I don't need a harbour for long. Okay. This is a song, an army song, and it's basically about a young woman seeing her true love come home from the wars with everything shot off. And needless to say, she's a bit upset. And she uses the well-known Irish plaintive cry in such times of distress, which is "Hurroo." You can think of a better word on seeing your true love coming home from the wars with everything shot off. Sing it.
Sweetify, hurroo, hurroo. Since going down to Sweetify, hurroo, hurroo. Since going down to Sweetify, sticking my hand, a tear in my eye. Oh, a doleful damsel I had cried, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and guns and drums, the enemy nearly slew ya. Oh, me darling dear, you look so queer, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. Where are your eyes so meek and mild, hurroo, hurroo. Where are your eyes so meek and mild, hurroo, hurroo. Where are your eyes so meek and mild, with which you once me beguiled? Oh, why did you leave the wife and child, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and guns and drums, the enemy nearly slew ya. Oh, me darling dear, you look so queer, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. Where are the legs with which you run, hurroo, hurroo? Where are the legs with which you run, hurroo, hurroo? Where are the legs with which you run when you went to carry a gun? Now I think your dancing days are done, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and guns and drums, the enemy nearly slew ya. Oh, me darling dear, you look so queer, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg, hurroo, hurroo. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg, hurroo, hurroo. You haven't an arm, you haven't a leg. You're an eyeless, noseless, chickenless egg, and you'll have to be put in a bowl to beg, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and guns and drums, the enemy nearly slew ya. Oh, me darling dear, you look so queer, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. Ah, sure I'm glad to see you home, hurroo, hurroo. Sure I'm glad to see you home, hurroo, hurroo. Sure I'm glad to see you home, safe from the island of Saloon. So loin flesh, so hind bone, Johnny, I hardly knew ya. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and drums and guns, hurroo, hurroo. With your drums and guns and guns and drums, the enemy nearly slew ya. Oh, me darling dear, you look so queer, Johnny, I hardly knew ya.
so I can get some idea, could you tell me how we're doing for time, Andy, please? Good, lovely. Of course, the writer of the song Leaving Nancy was Eric Bogle, who now is no longer with us in Australia. But he's written some very fine songs indeed. This is a song that he wrote around the Belfast Troubles. It's called My Youngest Son Came Home Today. My youngest son came home today. His friends marched with him all the way. Pipes and drums beat out the time, as in his box of polished pine, like dead meat on a butcher's tray. My youngest son came home today. My youngest son was a fine young man, with a wife and a daughter and 2 sons. A man he would have lived and died, till by a bullet sanctified. Now he's a saint, a soul they say. Well, they brought their saint home today. High above the Belfast streets, an Irish sky looks down and weeps on children's blood in gutter spilled, dreams of a freedom unfulfilled, the price of freedom, so they say. They brought my youngest son home today. My youngest son came home today. His friends marched with him all the way. Pipes and drums beat out the time, as in his box of polished pine, like dead meat on a butcher's tray. My youngest son came home today, and this time he's home to stay. Okay, 2 songs now sung and accompanied, and very different, very in complete contrast. The first one, a bit of a joke of a song really, written by George Spencer, a prolific songwriter from Preston, which is my place of abode at the present time. This George Spencer was an amazing man because in 2 years he wrote 3,788 songs, and every one of them was abysmal. And this one's no exception. In its original form, it was 47 verses long, had a rambling chorus, and took 28 minutes to perform in its entirety. And it had never been before performed in public. Until tonight. Cut it down a bit. Actually, the only reason George Spencer got the songs published was the only broadside printer in Preston at the time, this is during the 1840s and 50s, was a man called John Harkness. And old George there, canny fella, knew that John Harkness was doing something he shouldn't with somebody else's wife. And he threatened to tell on him unless he had his songs published. So there they are in Preston Library, the Harkness collection, much revered by folklorists and historians alike. You know, the great collection, best collection of English broadsheet ballads in the whole of... they're terrible, they're rubbish, all of them. Right. We'll do the songs, fairly short, so you don't have to grimace too much. The song concerns the Guild year of 1842. The Guild occurs in Preston every 20 years. The last one was 1972. Here we go. You lads and lasses far and near, and to these songs pray lend an ear. The time has come, the 1st of May, to Preston Guild let's haste away. Second spasm. When at the Guild you do arrive, like bees they're swarming all alive. All kinds of trades are working still, you'll see now you're at Preston Guild. Well, the tailors they lead up the van, like Adam and Eve they look so grand. Shopkeepers, publicans so free, all follow up for liberty. And the factory folks are next in view, spinners, weavers, carders too. The men who houses and factories build, you'll see now you're at Preston Guild. Well, it's toss-a-by for cakes and nuts, sweetmeats from Ormskirk, stuff your guts. Like Tom and Sal or Jim and like Tom and Sal or Jim and Peg or Henry with his wooden leg. Come and see the sports, it's up and down in Preston Guild, in Preston town. 2 shilling a bed, pay with goodwill if you spend one night at Preston Guild. Well, from Wigan and Bolton and Lancaster, from Singleton and Manchester, from Blackburn, Burnley and Charlie Hill, they will roll on to Preston Guild. And now the moral. But now the times are hard and the wages low, some thousands to the Guild can't go. But let us hope the times will mend, when the poor man can the poor befriend. Thank you. And the other one is written by Tom Lehrer, great satirical writer who lives in New York. And after having seen a number of rather dastardly horror movies that came out of Hollywood during the 20s and 30s, he decided to write a parody of the Hollywood horror movie scene. Here it is, all 35 seconds of it, just simply entitled The Hand. Could do with a dinner jacket for this, really. I hold your hand in mine, dear, I press it to my lips. I take a healthy bite from your dainty fingertips. My joy would be complete, dear, if you were only here, but still I have your hand as a precious souvenir. And the night you died, I cut it off. Oh, I really don't know why. 'Cause now each time I kiss it, I get blood stains down my tie. I'm sorry now I killed you. Our love was something fine. So until they come to get me, I will hold your hand in mine. Very much. Bit of light relief there, like that. Okay, well, as the evening shudders to a grinding halt, slowly. Finish up with this song, one of my favourite songs actually, a song I've known for many years, and refrained from singing it largely because of the preponderance in folk clubs of... Preponderance? What the bloody hell does that mean? Well, rather the excess, actually, of sort of the idea of purism in folk clubs, that you should only play one particular type of music. As you can probably tell, I've got a fairly eclectic approach to music. And that isn't a misspelling. So I'll finish up with this. Written by a contemporary of Woody Guthrie. And it's probably appropriate because it's a finishing, sort of leaving farewell song. Thank you all very much for braving the weather tonight. I think you did very well. I'm glad I'm not doing Inverness this tour. I seem to be fated. Last February I did Inverness. And I get places like the south of France in midsummer when it's unbearably hot and you can't sing or do anything. Okay, thanks very much for this evening. Here we go, last one. Come along, love, you must stay behind. You're bound to say farewell to me. Oh, I must bid you goodbye, though I hate to see you cry. I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Fare thee well, oh, I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. So hard to explain why I'm leaving once again. There's many a thing that I must do and see. Oh, I'm a mighty restless man in a mighty restless land. I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Fare thee well, oh, I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Walked and I have bummed, I've rode buses and I've rode trains. I've ridden a time or two in the Silver Plain. When I think of where I've been, oh, I just have to go again to see if everything is still the same in this land, to see if everything is still the same. So it's farewell, my dear, and I must be on my way. There's many a thing that I must do and see. Oh, I'm a mighty restless man in a mighty restless land, and I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Fare thee well, oh, I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. You can come along, love, you must stay behind. You're bound to say farewell to me. Oh, I must bid you goodbye, though I hate to see you cry.
I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Fare thee well. Oh, I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Fare thee well. I'm bound for the mountains and the sea. Cheers.
Look at that, Sir Andrew's clapped out again. Ladies and gentlemen, listen once again, our guest of the evening, Dave Walters.
I don't know what I should sing, really. I'll do this. I've not sung this for ages, so if I get it right. This is a... Right. This is a song that is traditional and it comes from a collection of songs called the Kitson Collections, Northumberland Minstrelly, which is quite difficult to say, even after 3 whiskies. And is a mictate, really, a parody of a song called Limbo. Limbo was the debtor's prison, and there's quite a famous song written around the place Limbo. But this is a parody because it likens Limbo, the debtor's prison, to the local pub, and goes back to the days when you used to buy beer and not pay for it until the end of the week, and used to put it up on a slate. Usually, of course, they drank much more than they should do, and at the end of the week they would be owing much more than they had, and they end up going to prison for it. Right, some of the words are a bit strange, but I'm sure you'll latch onto it. It's called Limbo. The last line repeats. That's the catch, if you like.
I'll tell you a story you're pleased to attend when my heart was afflicted with sorrow. This song, it is new, but it's absolutely true, for it's nothing I did buy or borrow. I was sent for to Preston's one day last week, that a little expected with what I did meet. But the country's all rogues, the world is a cheat, and there they can find me in limbo. There they can find me in limbo. Like an innocent lamb to the slaughter I went, not knowing what was their intention. But when I came there, oh how I did stare when I found out their damned invention. There was Preston the bailiff, Joe Cranks was his bum, and there they did seize me sure as a gun. Upstairs they then haul me into the back room. There they can find me in limbo. There they can find me in limbo. Well, me belly was empty, me stomach was full, for to think how I was trepanned. He pulled out a paper, he made a long scrawl, and he forced me to set my hand to it. Well, he opened his closet and got out a pie, called for liquor while I was dry. I never knew yet how the reckoning was paid. I resolved to live well, though in limbo. I resolved to live well, though in limbo. Well, another poor fellow there happened to be, whom they had confined in limbo. Brother prisoner, says I, how shall we be free, for want of this thing called rhino? He looked after me like one half dead, then I gave him claret to dye his nose red. But I never knew yet how the poor fella died. I just stayed where I was in limbo. I stayed where I was in limbo. Well, there was Bum and I, and we tossed it about until we began to grow mellow. 3 bottles of clarity there did me give. Indeed, he's a jolly good fellow. 4 bumpers of claret went round, it is true. Some drank for vexation till twice did it spew. But ne'er in my life oh I saw such a crew as we were when I was in limbo. As we were when I was in limbo. There was Jackson the tanner, and he came in by chance. He did chatter and talk like a parrot. Likewise Bill Bumber was one of her number, for he had a mind to drink claret. Full glasses went round till I couldn't see. Oh, then they were willing that I should go free. But the devil may pay the reckoning for me, for now I am free out of limbo. For now I am free out of limbo. With many a foul step I staggered home, happened to be without falling. I got in me bed and nothing I said. Me wife she began with a bawling, rung me such a peal, oh she'd been a and well. She could have raised all them devils in hell, could have heard her as far as the sound of Bow Bell. I wish it had stayed there in limbo. I wish it had stayed there in limbo. I wish it had stayed there in limbo. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Dave Walters. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank, well, Dave Walters. Come on. Thanks for coming tonight, and a safe journey home through the snow, and we do hope to see you next week, and do tell your friends. Thank you, and good night.